Everybody scream. When I kissed the preacher, then he kissed some boys. Then he kissed my teacher.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome back to WITMOT.
The what? The podcast.
The what of the...
WITMOT, what is the meaning of this?
What is the meaning of this podcast?
Podcast.
How are you guys doing?
Good. Another episode.
Are we talking to us or the listeners?
No, I'm waiting
They
for the
can't
listeners.
reply,
That's what
Tom.
No, well,
They
no.
can't
That's what I
reply.
thought we were doing, like a Dora the Explorer style sitch.
How are you doing?
How are you?
Wait, 5 seconds.
Well, you wait. You don't say wait 5 seconds.
Oh, no way.
Muy bien. Delicious.
How's the wife?
De nada.
Good. Should we take the red path or the blue path?
If you take the red path.
You will kill one innocent civilian.
We should do that. We should do a Would You Rather episode.
Yes. We were just talking about potentially doing some bonus stuff. I won't go into too much, but that'll be great.
Oh,
That'll be a really good... And we can have Harrison's Corner as well, like we said we would.
yes.
Definitely. I mean, we still don't really know what this podcast is.
No.
So, like, it's just us chatting.
We're
so we
finding it.
could easily go down this route one day.
Like,
Do whatever we want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just know, if we ever go down that route of... If we ever start releasing like Would You Rather episodes, then we've completely run out of ideas.
Yeah. We've changed our branding, and you have to just accept that.
Yeah. What is the meaning of these choices? Should we talk about what we're talking about?
No.
Nah.
Okay. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks again.
What are we talking about this week?
Do you want me to say?
No, go for it.
We are talking about Netflix original series. So our top 5
Oh.
Netflix series. I feel like there's going to be a lot of honorary mentions though with us.
Well, yeah. I forgot how many there were, and then
Yes.
forgot how many. There also were that I didn't realise were Netflix originals.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
it was more embarrassing at how much I hadn't seen than how much I had. Like, I
Yes.
was really kind of like, oh my God, I need to catch up with all of these amazing TV shows that people have told me to watch. I didn't realise I hadn't even watched.
I think when we came up with this idea, words, Anna. When we came up with this idea, and it was actually getting our top 5, I think, like you guys, I just typed in Netflix original series and seeing the wide variety of Netflix original series, and I realised how much Netflix.
That's for squirrels.
That's really painful.
The Netflix series.
Have you ever been flicked in the nuts?
No, I don't want to. But we'll make a Netflix adaptation out of it, though.
But no, there was loads I hadn't watched that I feel like I should have, and I was like, oh, goodness me.
The other thing they do as well is they goodness me. She said it out loud. The other thing they do as well is they take a series that's dying, or another. I don't know.
This didn't work. Jesus Christ.
It's just
I'm stripping, sorry, one sec. I need help.
This is so funny visually.
Oh my God! Wait, I'll take a picture. That's me.
We'll put this on.
That's
our,
equally as
on our
funny.
Instagram. Meanwhile, Anna looks like fucking Rambo. I'll take a picture of Anna taking a picture, and then Jake, you take a picture of me taking a picture of Anna.
Hang on.
Right, keep going. You'll also see our super shitty audio setup.
If you,
Oh my God.
if you pay £10 a month on Patreon, you'll get to see this for free. That makes sense. Wait, no, I'm not putting this on. There we go.
Yeah, you'll see that our microphone is just sat on a bin.
Hey, this is an emergency setup. We would have been on a very lovely pine dining table.
Our studio burned down.
What?
Our recording studio. It was
Someone.
It was killed by a rival
It's a
podcast.
lie.
Arsing around.
The WITMOT podcast. Yeah, I was saying Netflix also do this thing where they take a dying series and then they like give it another series. You know what I mean? Like Lucifer got cancelled, and they were like, "Oh, we'll pick it up," and then they got like 2 more series, so now that's become a Netflix original. So there's like
they seem to
so much,
especially at the beginning. They seem to be like the last resort producer for people wanting to make TV and film like this. I watch interviews with all of the original TV series and like the old Netflix originals that came out in like 2014, and they all said Netflix was the last person we went to, or the last Mr. Netflix was the last person we went
Netflix.
to, and like everyone else, like major networks, ABC, NBC, that sort of stuff, all rejected their stuff.
I mean, there's a joke in the Rick and Morty episode, what's it called? One Crew Over the Cuckoo's Morty or something.
Yeah.
Where he's trying to get a Netflix series sold, and the joke is that Netflix will literally make anything. And while they do have some shit, they've got some amazing, groundbreaking stuff.
But that's sort of like, we'll take a chance on that attitude has led them to having like Emmy nominations, Oscar nominations for their original stuff, and it's like because of the success of the original series and films, they just kept on doing it, and doing it, and like you said, picked up other already known series to have for their own now, and label as their own. Very cool.
Should we get started?
Yeah, well, we're doing this because of Umbrella Academy as well, aren't we? We're trying to tie in season 2 is out 31st of July, so it will already be out, I think. So yeah, have you guys watched Umbrella Academy?
No, but I've seen the season, like the trailer for season 2, because that's the thing on Netflix at the moment when you turn it on, and it does look really good, and I feel like I should get into it quickly.
I just realised it's not on my list, and I really enjoyed it.
No, it's not on mine either, and I was like, it's not.
Well, it's definitely not on mine.
I was like, what the?
And that's why we're doing this episode. But it's so good. Did you enjoy? You said you watched it.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. I didn't get it at first, and then I kind of rewatched the episodes I didn't get, and it all kind of
is very odd.
But I think that's again like a testament to Netflix's weirdness and what they'll allow to happen, and like. Is it Jared Way?
Yeah, it's like a super independent comic.
He's written and directed it. But there's loads of stuff coming out on Netflix all the time, every week. Now, especially. And since lockdown hit, they've been putting some really good stuff on.
Yeah. They've just had everything ready to go.
Yeah. And Disney Plus haven't given us our sponsorship yet, so we're changing to Netflix.
Yeah.
Netflix, if you can be a sponsor, that'd be great.
Okay, Google.
That's not I did it on mine.
Okay, Google. How much is Netflix a month?
According to Business Insider, the standard streaming plan costs $12.99 per month and allows you to watch on 2 screens at a time in high definition. Premium. Good. The premium streaming plan costs $15.99 per month.
Cool.
So, we should just get Google Assistant to do our promos in the future.
Yeah. However, Disney Plus, if you're listening, it's only $5.99 a month or $59.99 for the whole year. What a bargain!
Woo.
Unless you're Netflix, then Netflix is better.
Just listen to this whole episode, Netflix, and you'll be all right.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
I don't mind.
Well, go on then.
Okay.
You must.
First.
Whatever.
Don't be so pushy about it.
God's sake.
We get it. We'll back off.
Okay, so my number 5 is Sex Education.
Very good.
Either of you watched it?
No,
one
I
episode,
need to.
and I really enjoyed one episode. Don't know why I didn't carry on.
So, I can't remember how many. I think second season's out. Yeah, so there's only 2 seasons of it.
Third, though, I think.
And it's so good. It's one of those shows that it doesn't have an age to it. They're dressed like they're from the 80s, but it's very modern day. The technology is very modern day, but the set and where, like, the landscape of where they are could literally be in the 50s or wherever. So it's really cool, and I love that kind of style to it, and it shows that time doesn't matter. And it's absolutely hilarious, and it's just, I guess, well, we've all gone through that awkward teenage years of going through puberty and things like that, or and it covers a lot of area on embarrassment on things and
usually
just
that is not covered at school.
yeah, and they're quite subtle that there's like a gay guy in it. It's not like an important thing in it. It's just like the extreme of
It's good that's becoming the norm, that sort of stuff.
yeah. Yeah, and it's just kind of like, for example, I don't want to give too much away, but there's a musical in it about vaginas, and it's based on Romeo and Juliet. It's the best thing ever. It's just, it's literally the extreme of what you can go with, so it's really good.
It's nice and British.
Yeah, really British.
That's what I was surprised about, because when I heard it, I thought it was going to be instantly American.
Yeah.
Or it would have an American accent, at least, in
No.
actors. But
No.
it's all a British school and a British cast and everything.
Yeah, it's so good. The characters are great. Obviously, Gillian Anderson's in it, and she's phenomenal. Asa Butterfield's the lead guy in it, and he's so funny. He's just so awkward. And yeah, it's really, really great.
Have you learnt much from it?
Yeah, I learned loads. God, stuff you never learn at school.
Genuinely.
Yeah.
There's another show about like sex education that I don't know if Jake's going to have on his list.
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah, okay. I didn't put it on mine because I knew you were going to have it.
I was like, what? No way.
Yeah, I was like, I want to put it, but
yeah,
I know you'd have it, so I was like, I'll put another one because we can talk about that when we get to you. Anyway, I've got a thing to say about that when we get to it. Anyway, my number 5 is Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Unbreakable.
Yeah, it's just a really weird TV show, but it's really great. Tina Fey wrote it and directed it. It's about some girls that join a cult by accident, and they're put in a bunker for like 15 years. And it follows one of the girls, Kimmy, who they're rescued from the vault, and she has to go about living life, but she has no idea how to do that because she's been in a bunker her whole life.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So they're
good premise.
They're called like the Mole Women, but it's really, really funny, really wacky, and yeah, it's just someone trying to is essentially like an alien trying to be a human. It's really funny, and the Reverend, who's like the cult leader, is played by John Hamm, and he's in a couple of episodes, and it's so good. And they've just finished, and I haven't watched the last like thing yet, but it's like an interactive episode, and
I saw that.
Those things are cool.
It's gonna be the second one, I think, isn't it, after Black Mirror?
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Though they did, because I remember they did like a Puss in Boots one for like kids originally. Yeah. So there might be some more like smaller ones, but it was like a proper huge thing for Netflix, I remember. It's just really good. It's a really uplifting show, and it's really weird humour, and I mean, Tina Fey can do no wrong. So
yeah, genuinely.
It's quite a positive show, isn't it? There's like Kimmy is such a happy character.
Definitely, yeah.
It's great. It's
and
really
I mean,
nice.
there's not. I get maybe this is just testament to Tina Fey, but there's not a whole lot of like heterosexual male like
presence.
Influence. Yeah,
Right.
like it's a lot of feminine power, and yeah, she lives with a gay guy who's like so over the top gay. And there's a storyline where he goes out with someone who's a builder and is coming to terms with being gay, and it's nice to see that representation of like, yeah, he's quite butch and masculine, but he's gay. I feel like that's something that's not massively shown on TV and film at the moment that much. So yeah, no, it's cool, it's funny, and it's really easy to watch. So I highly recommend it. Yeah,
awesome. I don't know why I haven't watched it, because you both have been recommending it since it came out. I just don't have the time, you know.
So busy with the
lockdown.
Coffee.
And
busy. My number 5 is a technicality, really. It's season 4 of Arrested Development. Either of you seen that?
no, but I'm intrigued why just that season.
Well, because that's the only season that is a Netflix original. So seasons 1, 2, and 3. This is
I
like
didn't know that.
Like Lucifer.
Yeah, like what Tom was saying earlier. Seasons 1, 2, and 3 were made, I think, in 2003 to 2005 or something, by a major network in the US, and they had not made any seasons for like 10 years, and Netflix were like, we want to do another one, so let's get the whole crew back together and do another one. And it was one of those seasons, I thought anyway, where a sequel or a bringing back of a cast was actually as good as if not a little like better than the original. It's just, if you don't know, it follows a really wealthy, well, a family that thinks they're really wealthy. They have jobs in real estate. They've got this big group of houses in a valley where no one wants to buy, so they lose all their money. And it just kind of, it's kind of a bit, it sounds like Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
When they're this rich, dysfunctional family, and it follows their ridiculous kind of scenarios and stuff. I feel it would be a mixture between Schitt's Creek and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's got Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, Jeffrey Tambor, Michael Cera, David Cross, Tony Hale. Like, Isla Fisher's in it at some point. She's amazing. Aaliyah Shawkat. So many good people are in it. And it just is so funny. And Liza Minnelli's in season 4. And it's so good. She's so good in it.
Oh my God.
It's just, yeah, the show is like, it was innovative when it came out back in 2003 or whenever it did, because the structure of it's really weird, and it kind of follows each character's journey throughout an episode individually rather than
collectively.
Yeah. You know what I mean, it's really cool. Like the whole of season 4 is pretty much the same story, told from different people's perspectives for each episode, kind of thing.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, really cool. You should check it out. Awesome, really funny, uplifting, just ridiculous show. It's just so funny. It's so funny.
Okay.
You should watch it.
Will Arnett is my favourite.
He plays
magician.
He plays. Oh my God, it's so good.
I haven't seen season 4, so I need to watch it. I think I've got it on DVD.
Wow.
It is so good.
It sounds like something I'd like.
Like, it starts off with Jason Bateman like going up to Liza Minnelli and making out with her while she's high on drugs and stuff, and then it cuts back and it doesn't address that till the very end. It's so good.
Okay.
Yeah, go and watch it.
Clever.
Hannah, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is, you guys are going to hate me for this, is Riverdale.
I knew it would be. No. I knew when I was scrolling, I was like, yeah, that's fine. I'm prepared to not say anything about Riverdale because I can't talk.
Yeah, so I like it, and then Jake's girlfriend and our best friend Holly likes it, and also our other best friend Lucy likes it. So all us girls,
The girlies like it.
We're a bit obsessed with it.
I've never seen it, so I can't judge.
Yeah. So Riverdale is a Netflix original series from. It's based on the Archie comics. And it's got Cole Sprouse, who was Cody in Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. He's one of the main characters in it, and it's about
Ben in Friends.
Yeah.
And Ben in Friends, yes.
A very important role.
Yes. Ross's son.
Some say crucial in his career.
Highlight. And there's also obviously Archie in it as well, and then there's Betty and Veronica, who are kind of the 4 main characters in the show, and you watch them live in this town called Riverdale, and loads of weird, creepy stuff happens. It's very teenagery-esque, but it is really terrifying at some points.
Well, that's what it's for.
Yeah.
It's like a teen drama. Like a full-on drama for teens.
But I really enjoy it. I think it's great. Like, the storylines... Okay, the storylines have got worse, but the original, like, the first, 3 seasons are really good, and I feel like they've kind of lost it a little bit. But the thing is, I have had nightmares from a lot of the...
They must work, then.
Yeah, some of the storylines are really terrifying.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff that happens...
To be fair, I've had nightmares about Arrested Development.
Yeah. Like, some of the, concepts and, the visuals that you see, they just stick in your head and then you dream about them. And it's very scary. There's lots of quirky stories, and it's quite good at leading you in one direction, and then it's completely not what you thought it was. And I think that's really good when a show can do that. And, it's kind of a little guilty pleasure. I really like it. But I guess quite a lot of people like it.
Of course, they wouldn't have kept making it.
Yeah, and also you can buy merchandise in Primark, so next to the Disney merchandise.
Well, it's like teens don't need to feel like dramas of actual life, do they?
True.
They don't know really. To them, the things that go on in a high school are life and death.
Yeah.
I guess seeing that on a TV show is
I
feel this.
Yeah,
This is what life is like.
It is the extreme. And they did a when Luke Perry died, who was in like 90210. I can't remember what else he did, but he was Archie's dad in Riverdale, and the tribute they did for him was really sad because he died. I think that Archie's dad died in the show from a car crash. And yeah, they made this big thing of it, and it was like that made me cry. But yeah, no, there's lots of twists and turns, and some of it is really frustrating as well because you want it to go one way and it goes another way.
That's good though.
Yeah, and you're like, oh my god, why does it do that? Why?
And they do musical episodes, right?
Yes, musical episodes. So they've done Carrie, they've done Heathers, and they did, oh gosh, is it Hedwig?
Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
Yeah, Hedwig and the Angry Inch, which is the Neil Patrick Harris musical, which I don't know much about. Was it a drag show?
It's about a drag queen.
Yeah. So they did that as an episode. That wasn't as good. Heathers was all right, and Carrie was amazing. That was their first one. Yeah, and that's a bit of a random one because Cole Sprouse, you can tell, doesn't sing, and the rest of them do. So bless him, you can tell he's a bit like, oh, okay.
I had to like go upstairs when it was on. I remember hearing it because it was that bad.
Really?
Yeah,
but
it's like he's taking it down. They've obviously taken down the octave, but it's like a low enough song already. So he's like, people hurt us.
Oh yeah. So yeah, but he had to sing in Heathers. There was no point getting past it. He had to sing for Heathers. He's like one of the main characters. He has to sing at some point, and he is basically JD from Heathers. And yeah, so he had to sing 17, and it was really bad. But we have a group chat, and we always talk about it, and we're like, oh my god, have you watched the latest episode? This is mad. Like, what's just happened? So it is one of those. It's like a cool thing to talk about with the Holly and Lucy. So
I do miss weekly episodes of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's
something Disney Plus is good for.
Yeah, and that's the thing Riverdale does. They release stuff weekly. They don't release stuff they don't release the whole season straight away. They usually release stuff like September, then they have a break over Christmas, and then start again and finish roughly now. So yeah, so you can always catch up quickly.
Cool.
It's good.
My number 4 is Living With Yourself, which is TV show from last year, 2019, because if you're listening to this in 2021, then it won't be last year.
Or 2022.
Yeah, or 1946.
If you are listening to 1946, please reach out and tell us.
Well, maybe it's gotten to the point where we've invented time travel and someone's taken it back to 1946 and listened to this then, which would be amazing.
Wow.
If you are listening 1946, do something to let us know. Change something. Kill Hitler. Anyway.
Breaking news.
Hitler would be dead by now. Hitler would have been dead anyway. It's it's a comedy series with Paul Rudd about a guy who is like kind of, I don't know, he's a bit of a slob, but you find out throughout the series as it goes on that he's had a lot kind of happen to him to get to the way that he is. And he is stuck in like a dead-end job, and he says, I want to be better. How do I better myself? And there's this guy at work who he hates, but he always gets like all the promotions and stuff. And this guy's like, oh, I went to this spa, you should check it out, and gives him a card. He was like, you won't regret it. And then it turns out that this spa that they basically take you and turn you from one personality type into another. So that basically they're going to make him be not a slob and super motivated and stuff like that. Nice. It's really interesting. Nice. It's a bit like a dystopian. It feels like something that should be like a dystopian future, like a Black Mirror episode, but it's set now, and it's kind of offbeat humour. It's really funny and really, really weird. But anyway, spoilers, kind of, if you're... I mean...
It's in the trailer.
It's literally like the poster, yeah. But if you don't want any spoilers, skip ahead. Turns out what they actually do is that they clone you, and they make like a perfect clone of you, and then they kill off your actual person that would go in. So I would go in, they would kill me, and they would make a perfect clone of me, but you'd still have all of your memories, so nice. I still wouldn't know anything had happened. And they don't tell people they're doing this. Anyway, the procedure goes wrong, and in the end they just end up having two of him. So there's like the shitty version of him that he hates and the perfect version of him. And it's really funny. They both hate each other because they're both polar opposites, and it's like gets really complicated because he's got a wife, and because they both think they're Paul Rudd, they both have all the memories of, like, they're both in love with her, they both have all these memories together. But it's just really interesting.
Does the wife know?
She finds out, yeah. They have an agreement that, like, one of them can sleep with her and one of them can go out on dates with her.
Oh my god!
And then she finds out, and she's played by Aisling Bea, who's an Irish comedian.
I love her.
She's so funny, and she's not doing comedy in it, which is really good to see. It's like a interesting side of her. But yeah, it's just really funny. It's like, it raises so many good questions of, like, because obviously it's so ridiculous, but it makes you think, like, if this actually happened, like, it would be so messy. How would you go about doing it?
I remember there's a similar Rick and Morty episode where they went to a spa, but instead of, like, getting rid of you or cloning you, they just
is this with
split
Beth
you in
and Jerry?
with
with Rick and Morty.
Good and bad personalities. So all
Yes.
your good stuff was in one, and all your bad stuff was in another. It's just really, and it kind of brought up things about the bad stuff that the stuff that they take out. Is that up to the customer that comes in, or is that up to the person that is running the machine? Like, who decides what's bad in someone and takes it out?
Well, like, I mean, not to give too much away, but there's only one season at the moment anyway. But the more he gets to know his perfect self, the more he realises that it's probably more down to him to change himself, and that he doesn't necessarily like the perfect version of him. And then obviously Aisling Bea, when she finds out, his wife, she's like, well, I have to choose one of you. Which one do I choose? And then she finds out that she is in love with the original Paul Rudd, because the perfect Paul Rudd is not
The Paul Rudd
person that she fell in love with. Yeah, like it's just it's really interesting. It's really funny. It's really odd to hear Paul Rudd say "fuck" so many times. And there's
like the
I
bad
love
parts
Paul
of you
Rudd.
are the parts of you nonetheless.
Yeah.
They make you human.
And aside from that, like, it's just really good. It's a really well-made series because, like, especially from like a filming perspective, because there's multiple occasions where Paul Rudd is, like, beating the crap out of himself. It's like Step Brothers, you know, and they hate each other in Step Brothers. It's like that, but both played by Paul Rudd, and it's just really cool to see Paul Rudd beat himself up and not think, this doesn't look real. Like, it looks so good. I recommend checking it out. It's one series at the moment, and I binged it in a day. It's so good and so weird. It's unlike anything I've watched before. There you go.
Mental. Mine's a bit more well known. RuPaul's Drag Race for season number 4. My number 4 is again, it's another one of those that wasn't originally a Netflix original because of a major network, because Netflix didn't exist when RuPaul's Drag Race started, I don't think. And yeah, they picked it up for season 8 or 9 or 10.
And have they had it since?
Yeah.
I didn't even realise it was Netflix.
It is indeed, yeah.
There we go.
It is in the UK, it says, anyway, since it's a Netflix original. It's just a show that I was introduced to by other people that I would never have watched if I hadn't have been, I don't think. And it's just unlike anything else I've watched before. Like, I never really understand, like, reality contest shows. Like, I always think they're very forced, and they're very like, the arc of the actual series is set out from the start, which I'm sure is true for RuPaul's Drag Race as well. But you just end up getting involved with it anyway, and is a genuine, unlike some other like reality talent shows, there's genuine talent and genuine.
I was going to say that's what I like about it. I think
it's
it's like interesting to watch something like that where people have to be incredibly talented to be on it. Like Britain's Got Talent, for example, where it's like, come on and we'll laugh at you.
Yeah, it's not the public, it's high caliber, which can be for the better or worse of the drag community. I'm not one to say or talk about that sort of thing, but
I think it's been the first like major TV series that has represented drag, to be honest.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Or like at least, to that wide an audience especially. And like RuPaul is the face of drag now, and his show has been like the most influential show I think for drag ever, because of the main huge audiences, and just the stuff on the stuff they do on there is like equal parts ridiculous and funny and talented and like awe-inspiring and like heartening and sad, and
it's got like everything you want in reality TV, doesn't it?
Yeah. It gives you the trashy drama, but mostly it's about like them as people and them finding themselves, and obviously amongst everything else, it's an amazing representation for the gay and drag community.
I don't know what, like, the one thing I like about it, when I haven't watched it fully, but I've seen a couple of episodes of just like them putting on their own makeup. I love watching them do it and know like what's right for them, and like the costumes that they make and do. I just love that side of it. It's so like, cool.
A seamstress, makeup artist, model, catwalk model, everything all in one. Comedian, actor.
The confidence
everything.
They must have.
Genuinely.
It's amazing.
It's huge.
My number 3 is a TV series that I don't know. Oh no, Lucy watches it, actually, and Jazz actually watch it. I was going to say I don't know anyone else that watches it, but Lucy and Jazz watch it. It is a TV show called Dynasty, and I used to watch the TV show with my mum when I was a lot younger, because it's based on the TV show from the 80s. So
what is Dynasty about?
Dynasty, it's like, it was back in the day. There was Dynasty in Dallas. They were the two shows that you would watch on a Saturday night. And so they basically, Netflix have redone Dynasty. And it's about the Carrington family and their dynasty. So they have so much money, and the drama that happens in the family household is brilliant. So good. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Elizabeth Gillies is in it, who was in Victorious. I know Tom's a big fan of her.
Big fan.
Big fan. Number one fan.
You love
Picture
her.
on your wall.
Fan.
Kiss it every night.
You said she's like your celebrity crush.
No, I think you said that.
Well, no, I said you had to have a celebrity crush. Who is it? And you said her.
I don't remember this. But okay.
Anna remembers it very
well. But no, it's brilliant. It's so dramatic and mad. But it's they've obviously made it to made it more modern day than it was in the 80s. So, for example, there's a character called Sammy Joe, which in the 80s was a woman, and they've made him a gay guy in this one.
Cool.
And yeah, there's just so much drama and plastic surgery and money.
I suppose
and
the
people falling into pools.
Repercussions have changed in the last 30 years.
Yeah, and there's a party in every episode. But it's just like the ownership of who owns what, and it's mad. I love it. It's just like the world you'll never know.
It's like, you know, like in a comedy show when they watch a drama and it's really over the top, and someone gets like slapped, and it's kind of that's what it reminds me of.
That's it, and I think I just love it. It's great. We don't have a TV show like that, like those 80s shows anymore. So Dynasty is quite cool, and it's nice because my mum always talks to me about, because she loved it obviously back then, and we compare the shows, and the characters are the same, but obviously storylines are very different now.
What's the main difference you've seen?
There's more female power in this one, which is good.
Liz Gillies is like the face of it.
Yeah, so Blake Carrington is the main Carrington basically, and then Fallon is his daughter. But in this one, Fallon's more of the leader than Blake.
Okay.
And Fallon's kind of becomes more of her own and creates her own dynasty rather than following her dad's. Whereas in the old series, Blake was the leader and everyone was just under Blake, and followed it like that.
Blake.
Yeah.
Bloody
But
Blake.
I always hate Blake.
it is just so mad. Like, I could tell you like random storylines and you just would be like, what the hell? Like the ex-wife of Blake comes back and she sets like the stables, and then she has to change her face, and then there's a son. There's a
It sounds like Days of Our Lives.
yeah, that's what it is. And there's a son that doesn't turn out to be the son, but there's a guy that says he's the son, but he's actually not the son.
It's your
and
evil twin brother.
Yeah, it's literally like he's the evil brother that's come in and stolen Stephen's life and is pretending to be the new brother and wants to get all the money. And it's mad. I love it.
It's like the Days of Our Lives that you see on Friends.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
hits Fallon's fiance over the head, and he can't remember who Fallon is anymore, and likes his old wife. It's brilliant. It's great.
I
Carry
kind of
on.
enjoy watching it when you watch it because it's like so tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
Which I recently learned is how you're supposed to say it, tongue-in-cheek. I always thought it was tongue-and-cheek.
Tongue and
Oh, really?
tongue in.
Cheek.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Did you think it was tongue-in-cheek as well?
Yeah.
No.
Tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, tongue-in-cheek.
It's because people say like, oh, it's so tongue-in-cheek. And I was
Tongue-in-cheek.
like,
Yeah, because you want to
tongue-and-cheek.
bite your tongue because it's so embarrassing.
Yeah.
My number 3, we haven't had any doubles so far. I know we've definitely got doubles though, because Anna's got one of mine that I didn't put on my list. Jake's got one of mine that I didn't put on my
Right.
list. And I think we've got
I
the same
probably-
number
yeah, I
one.
was gonna say.
Anyway,
And we haven't got anything the same, probably.
Not yet, no, and definitely not. But we might have the same.
Yeah, probably, actually.
what do you think my number 3 is, Anna? You're trying to guess while you're at the room. What my
I don't know.
top
I
3
went
is.
with Big Mouth.
Okay.
No, because that's not on his list.
No,
Yeah.
and then he explained to me why it's not. I don't know. Is this the one I should get?
No.
Oh, then why are you making me guess then?
Because it's funny. My number 3 is GLOW, which stands for
Oh.
Glamorous Ladies of Wrestling, which is partially based on a true story about like an all-women's wrestling team back in the 80s. It's got Alison Brie in it. It's got what's her name? The famous singer Kate
Nash.
Nash. Yeah, there's quite a few famous people in it. I think it's the same producers that did Orange is the New Black. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a really cool TV show. It was really a really weird. It was a bit like Tiger King in the sense that it was like a subject that I didn't really know was a thing. And it's just an interesting story, and the characters are really funny. And Alison Brie's great in everything.
She did all her own stunts as well.
Yeah, oh yeah, like they so all the women that are in it underwent like extensive wrestling training, and she posts on Instagram all the time her practicing moves and stunts. Yeah, it's incredible. It's a really cool show. And
I don't know why I haven't seen it.
yeah,
I love Alison Brie.
it's really good, and it's really, really funny. But there's also like just the right amount of sort of drama in there as well. I don't know, all the characters are different, but they're all really likeable in different ways. And they have all different shapes and sizes as well, which is, I can't believe is something I have to say is a plus, but you know, TV's a bit shit sometimes. So yeah, it's good. I don't really have anything else to say about it, but it's just interesting, and yeah, made me sort of go back and Google kind of that era and that group of women. And
It was just nice. Well, I haven't seen it, but I'm assuming there's just a lot of, like you said with the earlier shows, like there's a lot of female roles that just don't need like a male character to come along and explain things for them.
definitely, yeah. It doesn't really try and like, I mean, I'm sure if you spoke to the writers they would disagree, but it doesn't feel like it's trying to make any specific point about anything either, you know.
Yeah.
Like it just is what it is. It's not trying to say like, well, women's independence is like super important. I mean, obviously that is part of it, but it's just easy to watch.
Yeah.
And it's not preachy about anything.
Definitely.
But at the same time it does highlight all the struggles they have with like getting an event run just by women televised in the 80s, and how they had like sleazy men trying to sleep with them and stuff like that. So yeah, it's got some really interesting points and like critiques of the 80s, whilst also kind of celebrating it. I think it's the 80s after all that.
Yeah, it probably is.
I'm
looks very 80s.
Like
Yeah.
90% sure it's the 80s. I haven't watched it in a while. But yeah, no, I recommend it. It's really good. There you go.
Awesome.
My number 3, I was going to put it as my number 2, but I felt bad because the number 1 is also an adult cartoon comedy. Number 3 is Big Mouth.
Yes.
Big surprise. Again, animated comedy series made by Nick Kroll and Andrew Goldberg and a bunch of other people. Stars like every single funny person you can think of. And it's just such an amazing exploration of like childhood and puberty and just teenagehood in a way that has not been done before. And basically all these preteen / teen characters have these hormone monsters which act on behalf of them as kind of their puberty. I'm trying to think of the right word. I don't know.
It's like a manifestation of puberty, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. So instead of
Hormones.
you doing all the awkward things and like you making all the decisions, you've got this huge monster next to you who's telling you to do all these things, like go up to that girl and ask her out, or to like who's controlling your emotions and controlling your feelings and stuff. It's just really, really interesting, first off, and then it's just completely ridiculous and hilarious because it's got Nick Kroll and John Mulaney as two of the main characters.
So good.
Yeah, it's just, it has so many different types of characters in the kids that go to the schools. Like, they've all got their own individual problems and they're all very adult, and it doesn't patronise anyone, but equally makes it just like, it's a comedy first and it teaches you stuff second, which is, I think, what a lot of these sorts of series tend to forget a lot.
Yeah.
My thing I was going to say earlier was that Nick Kroll was a guest star on Good Mythical Morning, and they asked him, like, you said to Anna about sex education, has she learnt a lot? And they asked him the same question. They were like, how do you get that information? And he was like, we had to go and talk to so many like sex experts and stuff like that. And he was like,
experts, if you will.
Sexpertly said. And Nick Kroll just said he was like embarrassed at how much he didn't know, like how little he knew.
I mean, it does all the amazing things of obviously teaching people stuff about sex that they need to learn in school, and it teaches a huge audience about like consent, and especially in this third season it goes into like women's rights and their comfortability within their own bodies and stuff. And it's just, when you try and explain it to someone, it doesn't work, because it's like this cartoon for adults, teaching you about sex through the eyes of teenagers who have these monsters next to them. It doesn't make sense, but it's so good.
And I really like that in the first series it was kind of like you've got the hormone monsters and they're kind of there like metaphorically, but then as the seasons have gone on, they're just there. They're just characters that everyone can see, that everyone can talk to.
And they have like their own business meetings, and it's just so crazy.
There's the one episode where they go to the hormone monsters like headquarters, head office, and there's like, this is just so far removed from what it was.
And then they take like a trip down, the main character, is it Andrew? Yeah, Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew and Nick.
Of course, after Nick Kroll.
Nick Kroll.
And Andrew whatever his fucking name is.
Three Andrews.
Yeah, they take a trip down Andrew's like fetish mind, and it's this river. It's like this river, and all the fetishes are surrounding him, and there's just, it's so ridiculous and gross and horrible, but really funny and interesting, and yeah, so good.
It also has the best character in TV ever in it, which is Coach Steve.
Oh my god, he is like the stupidest character I think I've ever seen in any television.
He's a mannequin in the third season.
Like, he's so stupid, he can't feel shame. Like, remember when the Shame Wizard who's played by David Thewlis? Yeah. It's incredible. Yeah.
And there's also Maya Rudolph saying bubble bath. Bubble bath.
Yeah,
one thing I really like as well about the new series actually is that they started straying more from teenage problems. Like, one of the kid's mum is going through menopause, and that's like a whole thing for that season. And it's like, it started off as just sort of exploring like puberty, but now it's like just branched out into so much more, which is great. Like, it explores so much.
But it's equally amazing how they can continue to do that, and then at the same time just make you cry with laughing at the most ridiculous thing, like a hormone monster, like fucking the decapitated head of like a politician or something.
And I remember how much of a big deal it was, and obviously it's because it's a PG, but when Bart Simpson's penis was out in a Simpsons movie, and like every episode of Big Mouth there's at least one penis or one vagina. There's a talking vagina, there's a talking pube.
There's like Maurice has like pet penises that he carries around and like looks after. But that's what I think a great thing about it is that it has so much disgusting, well, so much kind of so-called disgusting imagery and words and stuff. It kind of just gets you accustomed to that sort of stuff, and then it kind of makes you see.
Well, it's like normalises it, doesn't
exactly,
it?
Exactly. It makes you see like, oh wait, the actual. What is disgusting about these things? Is it just the fact that I've been told they're disgusting that I feel they're disgusting?
Yeah, definitely. It's also one of my favourites, but like I said earlier, I didn't put it because I was like, no. I know you're going to put it, we can talk about it then.
It's just, really funny, really creative. It surprises you all the time. It's amazing. Cool. Have you seen it much?
Tom puts it on when I'm like, I'm going to bed, you can put on whatever you want. And then he puts like the talking vagina on and I'm like, what's happening? Okay. So I've kind of watched it, but I've like fallen asleep, but I did see a talking vagina, so...
Also,
you got hooked.
Yeah.
How did we not mention they have like amazing original songs?
Oh yeah,
so good,
incredible,
so
incredible
catchy
songs, and the songs that actually mean something as well. Yeah, and such a good cast.
Good
and there's this random bit that I remembered is I was watching it with my old roommate James, and it was the bit where Andrew Ranald's character is flirting with another boy in a shop. Do you remember that bit? It's like really fast paced, and it's like this young camp teen meets this other young camp teen in a greeting cards aisle, and they just exchange really fast dialogue, but it's like really flirty, and you can't really tell. The thing is, you can't tell they're being gay flirting, if you know what I mean. And like we were watching it, and he was like, "Geez, that's like for the first time I've seen two gay characters just flirt normally without there being any sort of huge." Oh, you're gay, sort of thing, you know. Just like they don't make it too femme, they don't make it too extreme.
Definitely,
yeah.
It's
so good.
Awesome.
You'd love it, Anna. If you started from the beginning, you would love it.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay. Oh, should I do? No, it's my number 2, isn't it?
Yeah, you have
number 2.
I'm not
actually...
number 2.
No.
Girls.
That's the second time we've done that.
I think Big Mouth should do an episode about how girls poo.
No.
Yeah, because I don't think enough people know that they
poo
do.
just like men.
But
with a pint and a cigarette.
Yeah.
That's how I poo.
That's how we all poo. Even babies.
Hang on, I need a poo, but I don't have a cigarette and a pint.
Pour my pint.
Wait, quick.
Oh. Anyway, my number 2 is Stranger Things.
Oh,
this is your number 2. I thought it was going to be your number 1.
No, you'll see what my number 1 is, and you'll be like, of course.
Of course.
Yes. My number 2 is Stranger Things. It is a global
classic
phenomenon. The series just get better and better. I'm sure Tom would agree. And the season 4 trailer looks insane. There's not much to fault with it, I don't think. Characters are amazing. It's so like unique and its own kind of genre. I find it's kind of made its own theme almost.
It was
there's like Lego of it. There's merchandise everywhere. Like it's mad, but it is so good. Like characters are great. Set's cool, like the whole thing is amazing. Like the music behind it as well is so good. The storyline's insane. Like again, it's one of those shows that you don't know where it's gonna go. You're not really sure what this like whole sci-fi 80s thing, like it's what's gonna happen. And then when it does happen, you're like, oh my God, that's insane. Why? What?
And I'm like, shush.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch.
No, but I just remember there was a night Tom and I watched, was it the last season or the season before? I just remember being at your house and we just had to watch the next episode because we couldn't wait. And we just had to watch and watch and watch. And each time it would finish and we'd go, we need to watch the next one. We need to finish this.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just one of those shows, and I love those sorts of shows, and I think that's what makes it so great. And I can see why it's as big as it is, because there's just so much to it, and I think it appeals to a big audience.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
Teenagers as well as adults.
Was it one of the first Netflix original series?
It was one of the. I think it was definitely the first Netflix original to like blow
Success,
up and
like
for
the
everyone to be like,
success.
because
Yeah.
I remember when I watched the first series. Because Example posted, I don't know why, I don't follow him anymore. Nothing wrong with Example, but he posted something on Instagram, and it kind of looked interesting, and I really like the 80s, so I was like, oh, I'll watch it. And then I was like, oh my God, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And then I watched it with you,
Yeah.
and I was like, and then we watched series, like, so then we watched the rest of it together. This same again, this would be on my list, but I knew you were going to put it on yours, so
It's
I
just
thought we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I just can't fault it in any way. It's just so good. What was I going to say? I have no idea.
I think it was placed well with kind of like on the back of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Like the kind of child cast adult horror
80s
genre
nostalgia
theme,
as well.
Yeah, and you learn to like a lot of the characters so quickly as well. It's really well written.
It's good as well because you see them grow up. Like,
Yeah, the kids are
as
amazing.
season by season. Winona
Yeah.
Ryder made like a comeback and she was fucking amazing.
I know. Oh, she's so
It's
good.
got the guy from Lord of the Rings.
Bob.
What's his name?
What, in Lord of the Rings?
He plays Sam Wise in Lord of the Rings.
yeah.
But I
His
don't know what his name
friend.
is. He's so
The
good.
friend.
I
But yeah,
don't know.
I'm not a fan of horror, but I bloody love Stranger Things.
It's a really good place for horror fans to start. I
Yeah,
think.
And Demogorgon is pretty much the scariest thing ever.
I remember when
terrifying.
you see it for the first time and you're like, oh my God, what is that? But yeah, no, it's all, and like the whole idea of the upside down, it's just a genius thing, really. It's so cool.
Sean Astin, that's his name.
There you go.
Yeah.
I feel like we're in like reboot culture at the moment.
Yeah. 80s is where it's at the moment.
And I feel like Stranger Things has done everything that like the Star Wars reboot, or not reboot, what is it? Yeah, it is a reboot. No. There's like two words, aren't there? Because there's a reboot where you start fresh, and then there's something where you continue it. Anyway, with the new Star Wars films and like the Ghostbusters film, Stranger Things did something that they wanted to do, which was just make it somehow feel like a nostalgic classic that's been around since the 80s, but is also new.
Yeah, with new characters and new storylines.
And I feel like Star Wars tried to do that, and it kind of backfired a little bit. And Ghostbusters, they were like, oh, let's continue Ghostbusters so people can have that nostalgia, and let's make it a women cast. And then there were a lot of man babies that were like, I don't like women. And I feel like Stranger Things were just like, yep.
Yeah.
We've hit the nail on the head. It feels like it's been around forever, but it's brand new.
Yeah. It felt very Stephen King-esque.
Yeah. And it's like
definitely.
listening to I think they're called the Duffer Brothers that created it is so interesting because they love the 80s and they're just like,
oh yeah, we watched that programme on them, didn't we?
it's just like, how many references can we mash into one series? And sorry, just to cut you off, there was one thing I saw them say in an interview which I really liked, which was they've known where the story is going from the start of the TV show, and they don't want to just keep making series for the purpose of making money.
There you go.
Which is like so good to hear.
So good.
It's like, we know what the story is. We're making this because we want to make a story, not because we want to make money.
But I think, it's going along with the lines of like the film, like 80s films and things. You see that in a lot of the characters. I don't know, like a lot of the characters could be people from 80s films almost. Like
They're all definitely influenced by different characters, like Ripley and.
But they're just all such independent characters as well. Like none of the characters are the same, and they're so unique. It's just such a good show. I love it so much. It's really good.
It also doesn't feel like the themes changed that much since it blew up, which I feel like happens with a lot of stuff.
They've kept it.
Like they get self-aware, like I love the first Guardians of the Galaxy, and I really like the second one, but I feel like when that blew up, they kind of became self-aware with the jokes they made and references, whereas I feel like that happened to Stranger Things, but they managed to strike a balance of like, yeah, well, everyone knows what we are now, but we're still going to
keep doing what we're doing.
Be thematically the same. Yeah.
I cannot wait for season 4 though. It's going to be so
It's great.
Good. Yeah, they haven't let us down yet.
They also said they're not interested in like fan service as well. Like, I mean, I guess they are to the extent of references, but like they said they don't want to leave everyone going like, oh, I love that. They they want people to be like, oh, that sucks. I really didn't like how that finished, but it was great.
And you can get like merchandise in Primark.
Okay. That's how Anna judges her.
That's how I judge my TV shows. If you can get a T-shirt in Primark of it, then it's done well.
Okay. My number 2 is going to be messy. Right, okay. Technicality again with my number 2, because there's actually 5 individual seasons of television in one.
No.
But they're all really good and for different reasons. So it's the Marvel series that they did.
Yes.
So this is Punisher, Daredevil. Actually, no, it's 6, I think, series. Punisher, Daredevil, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and The Defenders.
They didn't last long, though, did they?
No, so...
They're very short.
Now that...
They're like this big.
Now that... That's not long. Now that Disney has done their... I think it was to do with their Fox merger. They've stopped... Oh no, it's because of Disney Plus. They've stopped their deal with Netflix, so they've now the TV series have been cancelled.
Do you think they'll put them on Disney Plus?
No, because they're Netflix originals. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they'll strike some deal, but they'll probably start the characters from scratch again. But yeah, anyway, the Daredevil's the first one, and I remember watching it and. It's so different from any other Marvel films. So I guess a bit of background about Daredevil. He's a guy called Matt Murdock, who is a lawyer who lives in New York City, and he's also blind. And
Very helpful.
Yeah, he goes under the title of Daredevil by night and crime fights.
Can he see as Daredevil?
So he has like. And I was really interested and watched a video on this because some blind people can actually do this. He uses things like all the other senses so he knows he's basically not blind.
Sonar.
Like echolocation.
Hello.
Yeah. But I think I was watching a video on like which superhero would be the most realistic. I think that was the video or something, and it was Daredevil because it's a thing that blind people have, some more than others, and obviously not to that extent because it's a superhero thing. But yeah, it's one of the Daredevil, especially Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage are like 3 of the best seasons of television I've ever watched.
Wow, that's quite a statement.
Wow,
they're so different from the films. They're super dark. And more adult, and it's more about like the drama. There's some amazing fight sequences that sort of all take place in like one continuous shot.
I remember everyone getting really upset when they were all cancelled.
Yeah,
especially
it's
Luke Cage.
Such a shame. It's just they're just like phenomenal television, and it's not. I think. Most people probably went in with the approach of, oh, well, it's going to be like Spider-Man or Iron Man or Black Panther, and then were like, wow, this is so different. And it was really refreshing and really nice to see something like that.
Why was it different?
It's just really like gory and adult and not really funny and quirky. Like it was more similar to Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones than it is to any of the films. Yeah, it's just really interesting, and they all explore different things. So like, Daredevil explores kind of crime.
The dark.
Yeah, the dark. That's what he explores. Luke Cage, obviously, he's as a black guy, and it deals with like with race a lot, and sort of different things like that. And it's also nice that Luke Cage's thing is that he has like unbreakable skin, so he can't be cut or anything like that. And it's kind of metaphorical in the sense of, you know, like a untouchable black guy, which is like, I can't speak as a white male, but I think would probably be a really great thing to see on television as a young black kid. Just this like untouchable black guy. And Jessica Jones she doesn't really use her superpowers that often, which is cool in a superhero show. But David Tennant plays this guy called Kilgrave, who his superpower is that he can just talk to you and get you to do whatever you want. And he like
David
rapes.
Tennant could do that anyway.
He's amazing.
That'd be nice.
And he rapes loads of women and like.
That's not
basically
nice.
does whatever he wants. Yeah, exactly.
That's less nice.
That's not as nice, Mr. Tennant.
Don't need to do that.
But I might be remembering this wrong, but one of the people that he rapes is Jessica Jones, and she remembers it. And it's just a really interesting dynamic and something that's not talked about in that way.
Yeah.
And also, she gets to the point of like, this guy has done so much awful stuff, and this is the same with Daredevil actually, because he's a Catholic, and it's like, should I kill this person to end their reign,
their bad streak?
Yeah, or do I keep them? And does that make me a bad person, or do I keep them alive and they keep doing bad things?
What is
it's
good
really
versus
interesting. Anyway, there's that's my number 2.
Crazy.
Nice.
My number 2 is not a TV show or a film. It is a series of stand-up comedy shows called James Acaster Repertoire.
Amazing.
One of the weirdest comics I've seen, just because his comedy is not like anyone else's. It's kind of equal parts really relatable and the opposite of relatable at the same time. Like, he's done this really clever mix of what's been going on in comedy, I think, for the past couple of years, in which like, our parents, or people around the age of our parents, so like, 40s, 50s, 60s, love that sort of relatable comedy that would happen in the 90s, early noughties. It's like, my wife, I hate her. Good one. And this is he's kind of everything that isn't, whilst being equally as relatable. It's so funny. But the reason I like this series so much is because you don't realise all of these things are connected until you reach the end of the last special. Like, for example, I can't remember which order, but for the sake of ease, the first one, he's got like a yellow background, he's all dressed in mustard, like mustard corduroy trousers, like horrible mustard t-shirt, that sort of thing. And in the next one, he's got a green background and a green, and then red for the next one. And then in the last one, he's got all three. And it's these weirdly titled specials. They're an hour each, and they're all focused on like a different part of humanity. But at the same time, he tells jokes like about opening a banana shop and like tricking this woman who works in Pret-a-Manger to buy one of his bananas or whatever. It's just like really ridiculous. Again, it's kind of what we talked about previously, and what is probably a theme with lots of our Netflix and comedy things, especially, as it takes the ridiculous things and makes you think about them in different ways. But he's just such a funny man, and it made me and a friend want to go see him live, and it was not a mistake. So yeah, so good. Would highly recommend to anyone.
He is great.
He's so funny. I'm surprised that when I saw it, I was like, really? I'd seen him on Mock the Week and stuff, and I was like, Netflix have approached him.
Yeah.
And been like, you can have a 4-part original series that we'll pay for. But it's just so good. So good.
I like the bit he does about the pictures with holes in that you put your face in. Now no one has a name for them, but everyone knows what they are.
Head in.
Yeah.
And I always do that thing. He says, when you go to the beach and you're all in the car, and the first time you see the sea, you point to the sea and you go, I can see the sea. Yeah. I still do that every single time. I can see the sea.
We've just come from, we just had a weekend at the beach, and you did do that.
I did do that. Now you know why.
So funny.
Yeah, and he does this really, really good bit about like British colonialism and museums. Yeah, he's just like thousands of years ago, he called it like the Great Heist, when we went to go and take everyone else's shit and bring it back here. And it's like, we hid it in a museum where we could charge people to come and look at it.
He's got a great voice as well. It's just funny to listen to. I could hear him listen to an audiobook and I'd be laughing. Yeah,
he's like the perfect amount of insincerity, and it's like clever, funny, uplifting, ridiculous. Like, you'll cry with laughter. So good.
I love it. I love it. I can't claim to understand it, but I love it. I do. It's great.
So it's like a sexy battery. Dr. Pepper. Yeah. Netflix have done loads of original comedy things, and they're all amazing. Like Ricky Gervais and Dave Chappelle, I was going to put on there. He's amazing. But yeah, James Acaster.
I think my impression was a bit more Josh Widdicombe.
but
I love it. Josh
James Acaster does an amazing Josh Widdicombe impression. Like,
so that was your...
Josh Widdicombe. I like to talk about comedy. How? Are we already at honourable mention? I don't know. I try and work on my Acaster.
God.
I love it.
For free. That's my Acaster.
For free. I don't get it. Like we've got these like pictures you put your head in.
Was James Acaster the one that was on Would I Lie to You?
Yes.
And it was. And this is the kid that
with the
cabbages.
Yeah.
Oh my god, died.
It was true.
Yeah, it was true.
Oh.
He slept in a bush in
You guys need to watch that episode. Yeah, it's so good. Like, no one believed that
You would love the specials. Like, they're so good. They're so good.
Amazing.
It does a great podcast if you like podcasts. Off Menu with Ed Campbell. Anyway,
James Acaster, come on the podcast, please.
Honourable mentions, I would love
Imagine if we did. Honourable mentions.
So, are we just going to do a round of honourable mentions?
I've got loads.
Okay, so my honourable mentions are Tiger King.
Yeah, good one.
Got that.
You.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, it's amazing. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Again.
I've seen you.
The plot.
Not horrible,
You're
but
right.
The plot
good.
twist.
Yeah.
Oh, it's disgusting. Yeah, you can't believe what you're watching, but you have to watch it.
Yeah, it makes you feel something.
Yeah.
Who says television has to be one thing?
Yeah, so that it is horrid, but the plot twist at the end of season 2, so good. Anyway, Sabrina, which is also set in the world of Riverdale, and has also given me nightmares because it's really scary compared to the original series.
Are they doing more seasons of that?
Well, this is kind of we're waiting at the moment because there's been a massive petition for there to be more, because they said so season 4's coming out this year, but they're saying that's going to be the last, but loads of hardcore fans have gone, don't do it. So
and some people are like, reboot it with a man.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, but really good, really good. So dark and weird and magical. It's very good. The Disappearance of Madeleine McCann, fascinating. So good, so good. It makes.
Isn't it so frustrating?
It puts the whole case into a perspective. You thought you knew everything, you don't, and then you watch the programme and you're like, oh
I'm surprised
my
we didn't have any
god.
documentaries.
Yes.
They always do amazing documentaries.
So I'm glad Netflix did it so well.
Yeah.
The Stranger. And Jack Whitehall Travels with My Father.
I really like that. I don't like
so
Jack
good.
Whitehall or his comedy, but I really like that show.
His dad is amazing. We all know.
He was funny.
Michael Whitehall. So yeah, those are my honourable mentions.
There we go.
Disastrous.
My honourable mentions are Russian Doll.
I see that.
That's good. Girl Boss, I freaking love Girl Boss.
Oh,
but it got
yeah.
cancelled after one season.
I loved Girl Boss.
It got really low reviews. I don't know why, but Jem Rash is in it. It's about
really
a girl
good show.
who is like just the absolute worst.
She's basically borderline homeless, isn't she?
Yeah. And then she has a thing for vintage clothes and realises that she can start a business selling them on eBay. And it's a true story.
Wow.
But yeah, really good. I wish we
Really
had more
good.
seasons, which is why it was only an honourable mention. Love, which is Judd Apatow, who did like Anchorman and stuff like that. He's done some. He's responsible for a lot of like quirky comedies.
Yeah.
He did a great series that was kind of funny with Gillian Jacobs and another guy who I can never remember the name of, but that was really good. Afterlife, already spoke about that. Big Mouth was on Jake's. Tiger King, Anna's. Dead to Me, I freaking love Dead to Me, but I'm watching it at the moment, so I didn't put it on because I haven't finished it. Umbrella Academy, Stranger Things, The Last Dance, which is about a documentary series
that's
about
really cool.
the about Michael Jordan specifically, but the Chicago Bulls, which I also haven't finished, which is why it's on here. My last one is Middleditch and Schwartz, which is a improv hour-long I think there's 2 or 3 hour-long specials just of an improv show between 2 comedians, and it's so funny. There you go.
I've got Don't Fuck With Cats, Hunting an Internet Killer.
I want to watch that.
So equally creepy and scary, and like, how could anyone do this to cats? But again, a really interesting documentary, like Netflix do all the time. Queer Eye, the reboot of Queer Eye. House of Cards, awkward, still good though. Disenchantment, the
of course.
Matt Groening new show that he did about a drunk princess.
I forgot that was a Netflix original.
Love, Death and Robots, the mini-series about all different types
Great.
of animation and all those stories. Netflix originals of Black Mirror. A series of unfortunate events, the reboot. And that's it for my...
I forgot about so much.
Yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm.
Disenchantment's
silly.
so good.
Yeah.
Final Space, forgot about that.
Yeah.
I like that as well.
There's so many.
Netflix need a section just for originals on their thing.
They need their
They
own
don't all come up when you
site.
search for it. They need like an originals section.
Yeah, there's so many there.
But then you need to separate like films and TV shows and
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just so much, man. So my number one is probably one of my favourite TV shows. Full stop. Like, favourite TV shows. It's The Crown.
Oh, of course.
yeah.
The Crown, yeah, it's a Netflix original series.
Absolutely.
Yeah, The Crown. It's currently at the moment starring Olivia Colman as the Queen, but originally it was Claire Foy and Matt Smith was Prince Philip. But yeah, The Crown is the story basically of Queen Elizabeth and how she took the reign from her father to today. So I think they're on season 3 at the moment, and she it's just before. So Charles is at school, so there's still a while to go. But
Jesus.
yeah, so Charles has just gone to university.
It's a long story, isn't it?
Yeah, but oh my gosh, it's like the events that happened that I did not know existed is amazing. Like, oh, and it really the fact you know these stories happened and what everyone must have gone through. Like, there was the whole mining story in Wales where a mine collapsed on a school. Never knew that happened.
Shit.
As much as I'm aware, it's pretty much true.
Yeah.
Do you want me to pause for a sec?
Just hit my elbow.
Ow.
So funny. It didn't hurt that much. It was just trying to hold him back.
Tom's just screeching in the background.
He's fine.
And then I did the like one of those laughs. Carry on. Carry on.
No, but it's honestly one of my favourite shows because
And your
I like the royals. Oh yeah, Holly Lucas is in like the first episode or something.
Holly Fisher.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Is she?
That's her stage name, isn't it?
Acting name, Holly Fisher.
I thought it was. I think she went back to Lucas. I'm not
Okay,
sure.
well,
We'll keep both
man.
in.
either way.
Yeah.
Holly Lucas. Holly Fisher.
Whichever.
There you go. Put those in.
But yeah, there's some really like emotional moments as well as some lovely moments. Like Prince Charles goes through so much shit as a child. He gets bullied from like the word go. and it's horrid.
That's why he's a dickhead then.
Yeah. Well, no, you can see why he likes theatre.
When I'm kidding, I'll kill you all.
You can, because he's always off to the theatre and stuff in the show, and he doesn't want to do football. He wants to do theatre instead, and that's what he gets made fun of. But yeah, and it's won loads of awards. Like Claire Foy and Olivia Colman have won awards for playing the Queen, like Golden Globes for playing the Queen.
We're in the Olivia Colman Renaissance, aren't we?
Yeah, and Matt Smith won one for Prince Philip. He's insane, by the way. He's so...
And then Claire Foy and Matt
Smith
did a play
Lungs
shortly after that together, which no doubt is because
and
they
I really want to
together
see
on The Crown.
Yeah.
And they're doing it again for our current world.
Our lockdown world.
State.
Yeah.
They're doing a socially distanced version of Lungs.
Which I'd love to see. I really wanted to see it when it was on at the National.
Well, they need to. It's cool. It's a respiratory... I can't even make the joke. A respiratory disease. So
Yeah.
Called lungs. You got 2 meters away.
Right. It will take your breath away. And your legs.
So yeah.
And your sense of smell and taste. Tom, what's your number one?
That was my number one. I think I'm done. I think I've said enough.
What is there one specific thing about The Crown that you love it the most, or is it just everything, like the acting, the
I think I like that it's true.
visual? Yeah.
You like the royal family, don't you? Just as a,
I am
as
a big fan, but regardless of that, this show is like gorgeous. Like it's so beautiful when you watch it.
And it's oddly
And
cynical
how-
of the royal family as well.
Yeah, apparently the royal family love it. Apparently
Really?
they sit down and watch it. They think it's brilliant. And I'm just like, what?
I wonder if someday
I'm allowed
someone will
it-
make a WITMOT podcast series and we'll sit down and watch it together.
Yeah.
And laugh.
Yeah. But they've said it, they've even agreed it's quite accurate to the representation of... I don't know why. Carry on.
No,
Go
I
on,
was
Tom.
still laughing
Number
at
one.
him. I was like, imagine
I don't
us
even
sitting
know why I
down,
bother.
someone going, WITMOT podcast show.
The telly's on black. It's like not on. Jake lost his mind years ago. My number one is probably Jake's number one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shall we talk about it? Ready? 3, 2, 1.
BoJack Horseman.
Lady, man. BoJack Horseman.
BoJack Horseman, you go first.
I mean, what is there to say?
Yeah.
I remember the first time. I remember and then I forget.
I remember.
Where are we? I remember the first time I sat down to watch BoJack. I saw it advertised on TV, and it was like out on the, I don't know, like the 28th of April or whatever, and I was like, this looks shit. This looks like a really bad Family Guy. Like it was, there were a couple of jokes in the trailer that were like kind of adult jokes, but enough to be able to put it on primetime TV. And anyway, yeah, I thought it looked shit, and then the day it came out, I was on Netflix, and I was like, yeah, I'll give it a go. I'll watch like one episode, and I ended up watching the whole series in a day because it's just one of the best series of television ever, past, present, and future. Yeah,
Bless you.
I got
it makes you sneeze and sneeze uncontrollably. No, it makes you laugh, it makes you cry. It's an existential adult animation about a washed up actor dealing with the trials and tribulations of Hollywood and fame, and like the great side of it and the bad side of it.
But this washed up actor is half a horse and half a man.
Yeah, which naturally.
But that does kind of come second. Like, similarly to Big Mouth, it's this ridiculous / funny / sincere / really heart-wrenching adult cartoon. Like, you don't get why it can make you feel these sorts of things. Like, why a half man, half horse, and his co-star, like, half dog man, who's married to a female woman whose agent is a cat. Like, how can this program make me feel things?
Yeah, how can it make you feel anything?
Yeah, genuinely.
Like, other than just make you laugh.
Frustration. Why
like,
this is a thing.
Yeah. It has the most, like, in-depth commentary on any show I've ever watched. You know what I mean? Like, it talks about so much, and without being without being super preachy. And it's also really silly and really funny. Like, one of the characters makes his own, like, Disneyland, and that's like his season arc. He makes like a place called like Toddland or something. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah. And then he makes a sex robot for Princess Carolyn, who can't have kids. Just realised she can't have kids. So he makes her a sex robot who ends up becoming the CEO of his own company.
What time is it now?
.com.
What time is it right now? .com.
Like, when you explain the will to someone, they will not make sense. But as soon as you watch it, it will make all the sense in the world. It might take a few episodes for you to get into it.
Yeah, the first episode is one of those ones that I think once you know what it is, you go back and watch it and be like, okay, it's a brilliant first episode, but you have to get to the point of knowing the characters before you realise that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they don't spend a huge amount of time on being like, let's get to know the characters. It's kind of like, no, let's just jump straight in, which is great, but you have to have that in mind when you're starting it, I think.
And there's past few years there's been a kind of trend with tackling mental health issues head on in kind of more accessible shows, but they do it more so than anyone else, I think.
Yeah, they're not afraid of anything either. Like, there's an episode where he's just been out of rehab for a bit and he's kind of not in a good space mentally, and he almost chokes to death one of his female co-stars live on, like, while they're filming an episode. And I'm like, I've never seen something address something like mental health and actually go that far like into it.
And even if you do, like, it goes into the fact that even if you do suffer from those things, it doesn't make you a good person just because you recognise it. Like, usually in art and TV and film and stuff, once someone goes like, oh, I'm broken, they'll go like, oh, okay, you need to get better now. And it's like, oh, I love this person now. But nearly all of the characters in BoJack are broken, and none of them really are that good people. But they all end up carrying on, and they all end up getting on with their lives.
It's like, look at Friends. Like, Joey accidentally takes something from Chandler without asking, and then they get super annoyed at each other, and then they make up and they're good friends by the end of the episode. But you laugh and it's funny, and, you know, I love Friends, but BoJack is like, I mean, same again, not to give too much away, but it basically ends with him saying, yeah, okay, well, he's kind of a good person now and he's kind of fixed, but he still has to answer for everything he's done that was shit in the past. He still has repercussions. Yeah, and going back to the, like, animation thing, they're like half animal, half humans. I feel like if you're going to have an animated show, like, regardless of, it does actually mean something. Like, it's not just like, oh, let's have a horseman because why not? But it does actually come into it in the show in some way. But I just think, other than that, like, if you're going to do an animated show, like, make it interesting to look at. What's the point in having an animated show if you're not doing things that you couldn't do live? So, yeah.
And it kind of came out of a thing from Lisa Hannawalt, as you know, like, not being able to draw human faces. So draw human bodies, and just did loads of this, like, plethora of animals.
It's just cool to look at, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's
loads of celebs in it as well.
Such a good cast. I mean, Will Arnett heads it, and Amy Sudeikis, Aaron Paul, J.K. Simmons, Alison Brie, everyone.
It's really interesting as well. They said whenever they would approach a celebrity guest star, if they couldn't actually get them, they would always have something really bad happen to them in the show, like if they had an impersonator. So, like, Andrew Garfield's in it, and he has really bad hair, and I can't remember what happens, but he, like, dies or something.
He discovers a Halloween store in January, and it's not finished yet. So
that's right.
Walks in and falls like 50 feet and breaks his legs.
Yeah. Whereas they said if they actually get them, like they got Daniel Radcliffe, then it's like, you know, they will not necessarily not have anything bad happen to them, but they try and be a bit more kind to them. It's just kind of like a little jab at, like, well, we want this character in it, and it doesn't matter if we can't get them, but if we can't get them, then we're kind of going to make a jab at the fact that they didn't want to do it.
It is funny.
Which is great. Or that they couldn't, but yeah, it's so good. So good.
Highly recommend, I say, with me
BoJack calendar
on me wall.
We got Jake for Christmas. We got each other BoJack art books. Same present one year.
But it's over now,
It is.
and I'm glad it is.
The ending, there's one thing I wanted to talk about, actually, I forgot. The ending is so unsatisfying, but also the perfect ending to a TV show ever. It doesn't feel like the last episode, which is great.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel like, as you get towards the end of the last series, it makes you feel like everything's going to be okay, and it feels like it's building to a finale, and then they're just like, actually, no, fuck you guys, this is what's going to happen.
Or it builds to a finale, that finale happens, and then
it carries on. Yeah, there's still more. There's still like half a season of TV left.
No, stop. I want it to stop now.
In fact, I feel like that was like the start of... I haven't watched the last season again. I've only watched it once, but I feel like the start of the last season, I was like, well, this is the end, but I still have one season to go.
Yeah.
That's like me when I watch Titanic. I stop the film when it hits the iceberg. I'm like, it's done now. No more.
They're all alive.
Well, it would be like watching Titanic, and they get off the boat and they're all safe, and they get to New York and they're fine, or Southampton, or wherever they're going.
They're like, oh, we just missed that iceberg. Thank God for that. We're all safe. Yay.
And then Leo gets paralysed by a rogue iceberg flying down the street. Yeah.
And what I like about the ending of BoJack as well is that it makes you kind of interesting that like you said, it makes you feel like it's going to carry on. So it makes you feel like these characters are actually real, and that they're still living and still like making bad choices or whatever, or still.
It's like once Chandler and Monica move to the Hamptons, they stop existing because they've completed their goal, which is to be two characters on a TV show. Whereas BoJack, it's like, oh, okay, well then I have so many more questions.
What about all the bad shit you did before you came to that realization?
There has to be another season of this.
Yeah,
and there's not.
There can't be.
And I really hope there's not.
Yeah.
But if there is, I know it'll be fantastic.
Exactly. But,
there we go.
Yeah, that's it.
Have they said it's going to be the last one?
Yeah. Before it got
there'll be no hope that
it got cancelled by Netflix itself. Yeah.
Why? Just cause it wasn't the writer's choice.
It wasn't the writer's choice. They wanted to do more, apparently.
They
said they would have done more if they were offered more, but
I would imagine it probably didn't have super high view ratings, but like if you look on like IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes and stuff, like every single episode is like 5 stars, 100%, 10 out of 10.
But I think there's so many people, like to the example, that had your opinion to start with, but don't view it.
Yeah, but that's
or that it's just oversaturated. Like there is now just two. Like BoJack started the whole adult comedy, or like kind of very serious tonally adult comedy sort of thing. Like not Family Guy, Simpsons ridiculousness. Like it's on the nose with what it's trying to say. And that kicked off most of the Netflix originals. It was one of the very first Netflix original productions, so it brought in so much money for Netflix. But then, like F for Family and Final Space,
I think
and Rick and Morty,
more popular stuff now.
It's just in an oversaturated market.
Having said that, it's the perfect amount. I think.
Yeah, I think it's the best
seasons,
one of them all.
And it's like that whole thing of, like we was talking about with Stranger Things. Would you rather have 10 seasons of a TV show that's really great up until about season 6 and then is not quite as good, or would you rather have 5 perfect seasons of TV?
Yeah, exactly.
Netflix originals.
That's it. They're pretty good, aren't they? Not bad. There's quite a lot of them.
They're all right, aren't they?
Yeah,
they'll do.
And next up, the WITMOT original podcast, the first ever podcast series on Netflix.
You wait. There actually will
God.
start podcasts on Netflix soon.
Yeah, we could be the first.
They'll be filmed.
We won't be the first. Yeah, that'd be. We could do that.
Could do it.
You heard it here first. We'll copyright, patent.
Netflix, if you steal, we'll come after you and sue you.
Fuck you, Netflix. But also, if you want to sponsor us or give us a podcast.
HelloFresh, HelloFresh is sponsoring everyone.
They are. Yeah.
HelloFresh, yeah. They look.
Or Honey.
Oh,
they
Honey, yeah,
everything.
literally everyone.
Not the product, the
Honey.
Although I would
Sponsored
happily
by
sponsor
bees.
Honey. I love Honey. Sponsored by bees. Bees, if you want to sponsor us.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Right. Anyway.
Do you ever hate it when one of your legs falls off while you're collecting your pollen?
Guys, I want chicken. Let's go.
Okay.
You ever hate it when you sting someone and your arse falls out?
Bye,
your
everyone.
intestines are pulled out by your arse.
Bye.
See you next week.
Asshole.
Goodbye.
Bye.
And we're done.
One episode. 5 hours later.
Guys.